Good afternoon, everyone. This is Pitu Bondas, and I'm presenting our paper titled Deep Learning Based Approach for Prediction of Glass Transition Temperature of Polymers, submitted to International Conferences on Advances in Material Science, Communication, and Microelectronics 2021. The first part, introduction. Polymers are one of the most widely used materials in the world today, as we know, owing to the various properties which suit the various and diverse needs of the 21st century technological and social world. Now, of all these important properties, there is one very vital property, which is the glass transition temperature of polymers. So what is the glass transition temperature? It is basically the temperature range above which a polymer transitions to a more viscous state from its glass-like state. Now, below this transition temperature, a polymer is prone to show glass-like characteristics without actually being in the crystallized form. Now, this range of values that is called the glass transition temperature help in characterizing blends of various polymers and in synthesizing newer polymers. Now, TG, or the glass transition temperature, depends on a number of factors, and it is mostly dependent on the backbone chain's flexibility. Now, flexibility can be affected by a number of factors like presence of big groups, chemical cross-linkings, as you can see in the slide, and other factors which are like the incorporation of ionic charges, conformation factors, thermal history, and etc. Now, traditional methods of TG is based on experimental methods, which we know are expensive and time-demanding as well. The paper that we have worked upon it proposes a long short-term memory or LSTM-based deep learning model to predict the TG values of polymers. The representation of the polymers is done using simplified molecular input line entry system, or SMILES. The advantage of SMILES is that it provides a very clear way of representing chemical species. The relationship between the glass transition temperature and the molecular weight of a polymer can be represented by the Flory-Fox equation, as you can see in equation number 1. Second part, problem statement and contributions. The aim of this paper is to design a deep learning model to predict glass transition temperatures of polymers based on a long short-term memory LSTM method using SMILES representation of polymers. Contributions, we developed a deep learning based model on LSTM method with SMILES molecular representation to predict glass transition temperatures. The effectiveness of deep learning method has been shown by this method that we have used in the paper. Also, this model proves to be an alternative for otherwise expensive experimental methods. And this work lays the scope for further use, which can be used not just for TG temperature estimations, but for other models as well. SMILES, or Simplified Molecular Input Line Entry System. Now, SMILES is basically ASCII notation for molecules, which provides with unique strings for all molecules. Now, this presents us with a problem statement which can be solved using solution available in the scope of natural language processing. Now, because of this, SMILES has become a paramount tool in QSPR and QSAR analysis. Now, one of the more advantages of SMILES is that it is really simple language with simple vocabulary and grammar rules, and hence its usage and popularity. Now, as you can see, the methane can be represented in a linear way using just 2 characters. Similarly, for complex structures like benzyl acrylate, as you can see, a linear string can be used to represent the same, and you can see how the bonds and all the chemical notations can be represented. These are some more examples of other chemical components. Our model is based on LSTM, or long short-term memory, which is one of the most popular recurrent neural network architectures used in natural language processing. Now, the selling point of LSTM, or long short-term memory, is its ability to store information which can be used to facilitate future predictions. Now, as discussed, since SMILES is in form of ASCII strings, LSTM is a suitable architecture for the nature of our dataset. Now, the dataset that we have used is a subset of the database of SciGlass. Now, this is one of the largest database of, or it can be considered the largest database of glass composition and properties in the world. Now, this database is a repository for properties and other information related to polymers. But for our study, we have chosen glass transition temperature. Model architecture. Our neural network architecture is a combination of multiple layers. Now, the longest smile string in our dataset is of 65 characters, and there are 61 unique characters in the entirety of smiles. Now, for our input layer, one hot encoding with the size of 65, 61 was used. Now, we have added a dropout layer to avoid overfitting in our model. Now, the final layer is a dense layer with ReLU activation function to give the regression results in our model. Results in discussion. We have experimented with different batch sizes and training epochs to get the best results. On training the model with 10 epochs with a batch size of 32, we have achieved an accuracy of 92%. This graph that you can see is a comparison between the training epochs and the validation accuracy. Now, as you can see, at the 10th epoch, we reached a validation accuracy of 92%. Now, as you can see here, the third column shows the calculation of the glass transition temperatures from the Flory-Fox equation, and the fourth column shows the glass transition temperatures that has been predicted by our model. Now, it can be seen that the differences between the two models or the two methodologies are nominal, and this can be justified by the 92% accuracy which has been achieved by our model. Conclusion and future prospects. The results from the model that we have developed show that such methods, that using deep learning methods for prediction of glass transition temperatures in polymers is efficient and can also be used as a replacement for the traditional methods. Now, the future prospects lie in its ability to be used to compare the model that we have developed in a lab setting with the traditional methodologies for comparison. Now, another future prospect is that such models or such deep learning models can be used to complete QSPR analysis of polymers. The model that we have used was only one of the important properties of polymers, that is the glass transition temperatures, but that should not be the area where deep learning methods need to be confined to. In fact, the model that we have developed shows that such deep learning methods can be used to predict other properties too. So these are some of the references that we have used in the presentation from the paper. This was our presentation. Thank you.